Yeah! Welcome to another episode of Three Conservative Gimps. We've got a great show for you today, and it's great to be back. Hopefully, everybody had a great Mother's Day last week and had a good time. So, it was a good break. We've got a great show next week. We got a special guest. Yep, it's our favorite congressman from Michigan, Thaddeus McCotter, will join us next week. So it'll be a great show. So let's get this show going. Let's bring in my co host all the way from Muskogee, Oklahoma. It's the effervescent and never pretentious or matriculous. It's Lloyd Mendenhall. We can't hear you.
I said, have you been reading your thesaurus again? Oh, if it's my glasses or if it's out of focus. I can't tell.
Yeah, well, you look fine now. You were out of focus there.
Was I? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure. I have to read the chat. I got to have my glasses on. To anything else up close, I have to take them off. So there we go. Right. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So, yep, I'm here.
Great.
I had a nap today, so.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. So, Judy's gets confused about the time. We were talking about this for the show, so I have ordered a big 12-inch digital clock that says the time of day, what the date, what whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime. I made it big enough so I can see it too, so I don't get confused either. So
there you go. Alrighty, let's welcome our other co-host all the way from the great Northeast, from the blue state of New York. Let's welcome. It's Charles, and he's in charge. Welcome.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Charles, how you doing?
You only had the one nap, Lloyd?
Yeah, I finally, just one nap today. I'm going to have one after the show too. So
okay,
But yeah, I only got in one today. It's finally Judy's taking her second nap, so I'm a nap behind right now. So
yeah, I had mine earlier as well. So well rested.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So how are you doing, Charles? How's the weather in your neck of the woods?
It's just kind of gloomy today, but not horrible. We had sunshine. We had nice sunshine for about an hour or so, but. That's why it's just kind of gloomy and relatively cool. No big deal.
Right. Good.
What about you, Art? What about your?
It's much better today.
Oh, good.
We're in the good category. We were, let's see, this morning we got down to 40 on the index, and it did go up slightly to 52, but it's still in the good range. So the dust has subsided, or the smoke actually. So I slept really good last night, and feeling a lot better. So
good. Quick question: when the number goes above 100, or what does that number signify? Is that parts per million in the air or something like that?
I don't know how that scale goes. I think once it gets past like 200, then you're in the dangerous category. I don't have my phone right here, so I can't tell you. I mean, it's color coded as well, so it's
that's what I was looking up.
Yes, Lloyd.
Parts per million, 2.5. Okay. Particulate matter under 2.5 small enough either to bloodstream or typical results from wildfire smokestacks. Anyway, so it is particulate matter under part is like you said, parts per under 2.5, some sort of U and M. So I don't know what that means.
That stands for micrometers.
Micrometers. There you go. Thank you. I knew that looked familiar, but for some reason it wasn't clicking. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's talking about particles from wildfire smokestacks, bacteria, dust. Let's see, they're small enough to enter the bloodstream. So,
Right.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right now, ours is 39. So,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah.
So we had some exciting news in the past week and a half. The Durham report has finally been released, and I think we all kind of knew what it was going to say, but evidently CNN had to order more excavators so they could bury the report.
Yeah, that Durham report. Sadly, it points out. I'll kill that dog. Sadly, it points out the problem
Sounds
with our
like
current.
Democrats after they heard their report.
Yeah, exactly. I think he voted for Hillary. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna kill that damn dog. I swear to God. But no, I mean, it goes to show you how bad and how far back this has gone. I mean, this is all the way back to 2016.
Yep.
And it shows who was involved, which
Mm-hmm.
like none of us didn't already know it. And the one good thing is it does vindicate Trump. That was
Mm-hmm.
whether they want to believe it or not is a different story. They're spinning it their own way, but it still comes down to the fact that our intelligence agencies, the FBI and stuff, have gone. They're out of control again. Last time I think something like this happened, of course, all hell broke loose back when it happened the last time like that, and that was in 72, 72, 73 under Richard Nixon, and the
Right.
FBI was involved with a lot of stuff then, but that took down the president. But he was a Republican, so they're not worried about it. So this is a Democrat, so nothing will happen.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And Charles, your point or views on it?
Oh, I've watched some of the very small amounts of the hearings and whatnot that are going on, and it's just I agree with Lloyd. Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is not a nothing burger, but the powers that be, so to speak, are going to treat it like a nothing burger until it goes away.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
The media, of course, is going to spin it as just right wing conspiracy. It's a nothing burger, and it's like
well,
it was an investigation, into how all of this got started, how a lie turned into an investigation. So,
yeah, all of those FISA warrants that were issued are all illegal, and I'm surprised that some of the guys, a few of those that went to jail over that, or at least were found guilty and fined. I'm surprised they're not raising hell because the evidence that was used against them was illegally obtained. So they should be exonerated of all wrongdoing. But that's what the FBI likes to do. They like to twist things around enough to where, and if your memory's not 100%, you don't have a recording of every single word that that you've said,
right.
then they're going to say, but you lied, and lying to the FBI and lying to the Department of Justice that's what they always get them on. That's what they seem to always catch them on is a lie. Whether it's an intentional lie or not, I think a lot of times it's just, I can't remember what I talked about yesterday. How in the hell would I remember what I talked about 5, 6, 7 years ago?
Yep.
And unless you record every single word that you've spoken when you're in that's why Richard Nixon, I think that's why he had audio tapes and everything. except for those 18 minutes. I never have figured out what happened to those, but that's okay. But that's what the FBI does. That's their favorite tactic, because then they can get them on a felon, and that precludes them from going running for office and stuff like that. It's just keeps them down, and and it's just nothing's going to happen except but I would think if I were a defense attorney for one of those guys that was, I think, wrongfully convicted on faulty warrants because of illegal warrants, I'd be raising hell right now. But
Yep.
A lot of people can't afford it.
It casts a lot of doubt on all these other allegations and committees, whatever, against Trump. It just destroys every bit of credibility that they have.
Yeah, well, like Adam Schiff, he's just doubling down on everything, and he the stuff he used for evidence in the first and second impeachment were ridiculous. There was no truth to the matter now that the report's out, and it shows that it was all based on a lie. The unfortunate thing is, I think that one thing that worries me and concerns me is we're going to spend another 2 years having all sorts of these committees. I will say this: at least they are working on the budget situation, on the debt, the debt ceiling. They're at least doing something besides just focusing on this. That's what I was concerned that they were going to do when they got in office, just turn around and do the same thing. Because Democrats didn't do anything for 4 years. They spent all their time focusing on getting Trump out of office,
Right.
And I was concerned that I think the reason the Republicans haven't done that is because if they get Biden out of office, then they've got to deal with Kamala, and she's no better. It's better the devil you know than the devil you don't know.
But we don't know if it might be her. She might get replaced.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
I was going to say, we've talked about that scenario where Biden, for whatever reason, is removed. Kamala leaves, and then somebody else gets appointed or steps up, who's somebody that nobody voted for.
Yeah. And that happened under Gerald Ford,
Yep.
And they got rid of, they forced Agnew out, and then they went after, and the unfortunate thing is that for some reason the Republicans have not learned how to play that game yet. They just haven't learned how to play it.
Well, they want to be above the board, we're the good guys. We're not going to play that way. And it's like, but this isn't beanbag. You got to play the game,
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they're pitching horseshoes, This isn't the annual baseball game between the Democrats and the Republicans that they have every year in Washington. This is politics, and politics, they've always been dirty. I mean, you go back and look at some of the stuff and the tripe that was said back in the 1800s.
Yep.
Well, I mean, look, Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, they couldn't stand each other.
Yep.
And the only thing that was up, the John Adams' last words is, "That damn Jefferson is going to outlive me." Unbeknownst to him, Jefferson had died about an hour before he did. He didn't know he was dead. But he said, "That damn Jefferson's going to outlive me." And he didn't, but they died on the same day, July 4th. I mean, it's just, couldn't have planned it any better, but that shows you how far back from the beginning of our country we've had these animosities. Look at Hamilton and Aaron Burr and the shooting or the duel.
Duel. Yeah. All that duel.
So,
and how about Andrew Jackson. There was even back then it was pretty, and he was the first assassination attempt on a president. Where the guy shot at him twice, and both times the gun misfired because it happened to be a very humid day, and they test fired those guns, and they fired the first time. So it must have been the real damp air that caused the guns to misfire. And Jackson almost beat the guy to death with his cane.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then you got like Teddy Roosevelt, who was it Roosevelt? Yeah, it was Roosevelt that was shot, and then went on to give a speech.
Right
after, while he's still, he got it patched up to stop bleeding enough, and then goes on and gives a very rousing speech. That's back. That's back before the woke movement and men's. Back then men didn't wear dresses and didn't pretend to be something they weren't. That was back when men were men.
Yeah,
and the sheep were scared, and because
that's like
what had happened was Roosevelt had folded his
speech up and stuck it in there.
His eyeglass case stopped.
His eyeglass case, caught the bullet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
and do you know who the last president assassination attempt on?
Well, the last attempt.
Fairly recent. Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton. That's what I was trying to think. I thought that. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, hello, Grant.
No, it would be Bush. Bush was almost.
Yeah, Bush. Yeah, they tried to set. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Was it?
Yeah.
Was it W or was it? It
was
41.
W.
It was W. Okay. 43.
And Clinton, you know who almost got him? Osama bin Laden. Because when he went to the Middle East, there was a report that there was a explosive device on a bridge that the motorcade was going to go over, and it was thwarted. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking the same thing, Mickey McH. Somebody threw a shoe at Bush Jr.
Yeah, but that's not an assassination attempt.
I don't know. Think about that shoe bomber that had the explosives in his heel, couldn't get it to blow up.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been an explosive shoe. You just don't know.
But Bush, when he was in the Middle East, someone threw a grenade that didn't go off. The grenade was wrapped in a handkerchief. And the pin was pulled, but the
lever didn't come off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That must have been one stiff handkerchief.
Because
hold the handle down.
Yeah, because those handles, man. If you've ever thrown a grenade or anything, you'll find out those hammers, they come flying off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's get back to the topic. Yeah. So the Durham report basically debunked everything on and cast a really bad light, and I think the FBI needs to be reorganized.
It's needed reorganized for 60 or 70 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They don't,
especially after Hoover left.
Yeah, once Hoover left, they just, it kind of went
right.
And that's not to say that
he was running it.
Well, it was pretty bad when Hoover ran it, but he ran. He spied on everybody. He didn't care. Everybody. He had a record on everybody.
Right.
And but yeah, we gotta have we need the FBI. Either that or the U.S. Marshal Service is going to have to do it all, because just like they have MI5 and MI6 over in England, they've got MI5 deals with the internal stuff, MI6 deals with the international. Just like we've got the CIA and we've got the FBI. FBI is supposed to deal strictly with things inside the border or inside the government, not things externally. And somewhere along the line, they've become corrupted. And I don't mean the agent on the ground, the guy that's out there every day going in and doing his job. It's the hierarchy. But that's been their plan for years, is to be able to get in and infiltrate and build the hierarchy up and they've done it to the military, they've done it to the FBI, the CIA, the National Security Administration, NSA. All of these groups have been infiltrated by, more left-leaning, if not completely socialist people. And that was their plan, It was nice in the old days when we knew we had the FBI or we had the CIA and the KGB. You could tell. You knew who the bad guys were and you knew who the good guys were. Now, the bad guys are the ones that are supposed to be. Yeah, they're all bad guys. There aren't. Like I said, the average agent on the ground, the guy that you pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to report this. And, if it's a local office, that person is probably straight up, but when they get to Washington, like they say, what is it? Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's
they don't.
That's what happened.
The swamp for nothing.
Yeah, and it's been that way. And it's it's, for example, because this last week has been the Fallen Officers Week, or the Fallen Officers Memorial was on Monday. And Biden didn't bother to go to it. He changed his mind at the last minute and didn't go to it. But, that day was instituted by John F. Kennedy, a Democrat. He was a big supporter of the police. He backed the blue. And nowadays, they're just not they're not doing that, and the Democrats of today are nothing like there's one Democrat that I can say is probably the closest thing to John F. Kennedy that I have seen in many, many years. His name is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. That is a man to watch.
Manchin.
Well, yeah. Joe Manchin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true too. Cinema. But those are. I've been following a little bit of RFK Jr.'s stuff, and he's really coming out with some good, common sense conservative stuff. For being a Democrat, he's following. He really is following his dad and his uncle's ideology, not Ted's, because Ted was.
Yeah.
Ted was the black sheep of the family anyways, and, but RFK Jr. is, as Democrats go, he's impressed me, and it takes a lot for me to be impressed by a Democrat.
But I don't think he'll get the nomination.
No, he won't. It's already been bought and paid for by somebody else,
Well, because of the powers that be and the what is it, the base of the Democrat Party is so far left. They're not going to nominate somebody like Kennedy.
Yeah.
Now Kennedy could really throw a monkey wrench and give us the
win. Yeah, the White House.
Yeah, the ammunition that normally Republicans will do to give the Democrats, because we'll beat each other up, and the Democrats will use the same tactic.
And
Yeah.
And they're still doing that. I mean, I have respect for Donald Trump and for all the guys that are running, but they've got to knock this crap off. This
Yeah.
whole fight between I personally, I'll vote for Trump if he's the nominee.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we need to have somebody younger, a
Mhm.
Ted Cruz, gentleman from Florida. My mind just went blank.
DeSantis
Yeah, DeSantis. Thank you. My mind just went
or
blank
Rubio.
right there.
That's
Rubio.
another-
Rubio, I'm a little.
He's
I'm
kind of
not too sure.
squishy.
He's kind of squishy. I don't really trust Rubio, but
Yeah.
DeSantis, Ted Cruz, a few of those guys, I would like to see.
Mhm.
Because it really comes down to, and I keep saying this, and I don't know why. I don't know why Donald isn't listening to me, but he's not. I write him letters all the time, and he just doesn't. He ignores me. But he's too damned old for the job, and he's a lame duck president.
Right.
And nothing. And unless he has a damn good running mate that can carry the
Mhm.
weight, because 24, it's irrelevant as far as I'm concerned. It's 28 that's going to finally turn things around. 24 will help.
Mhm.
It depend, or it will either help us or hurt us. It'll either put us on an even keel and hold off until 28, because the big race is in 28.
Mhm.
Because
Hey, I want to announce we got someone new in the chat, all the way from the Philippines. It is my good friend Nancy Javier. She's using her son's handle on YouTube, and
well, welcome.
she is conservative like us. So we had a short little conversation about the difference between our system of government and theirs, and the Philippine Constitution is pretty much based upon our Constitution.
Yeah.
But their parties are different because there are so many parties.
Right.
There's no two competing parties.
Right. Is it parliamentary or is it a republic system like ours?
It's a republic system.
Okay.
They've got a lower house and an upper house, just like us. They have a Senate and a representative, and they got a judicial, and then we have the executive branch. And by the way, the vice president of the Philippines is the former president's daughter, Sarah Duterte.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And by the way, I am simulcasting this on my Facebook.
Oh, good.
But,
And so am I. I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I guess I ought to click over here and see what the comments are, because I don't know who's watching and who's not. But I forgot where I was going.
Well, we were talking about the similarities and differences
Right.
of our government and the Philippine government. And
well, and that's what I was going to talk about, because we've got two main parties, whereas most other countries have a variety of them, unless they're in a totalitarian government, and then you've got the party and the opposition.
Yep.
Whatever that party may be, the Communist Party, Chinese Communist Party, the Russian oligarchy party, or whatever the hell they've got there, and the opposition, you don't know what that party is, but it's always the opposition. And there's usually only one opposition, and they lose, and, everybody shakes hands and goes on about their business, and totalitarianism continues to reign in that country. And we're getting there. Unfortunately, we're getting there,
All right, so let's swing into our next topic, would be the Trump CNN Townhall. How about that? We touched it on it a little bit last time, and how the the media just fell over themselves because they're saying, "Oh, how could CNN do that? Let him talk and not interrupt him." And
Well,
eh,
CNN was smart. Of course, they've got a new person in charge, a new CEO that is trying to get CNN back to cable news network. They're failing but they're getting rid of some of the dead weight and some of the. Still
Right.
haven't got rid of all of them. There's a lot more they need to get rid of, but the fact that the money must have been good. That's something because their ratings have been so far down in the toilet that they needed something. And hey, this is getting people. People are hearing about this on YouTube and other places in the newspaper that he was on CNN, and people are tuning in to CNN. The town hall reminds me of how much I miss those mean tweets. Yeah, yeah. It was a moneymaker for CNN because that one night they had fantastic ratings.
Yep.
Uncle Bill says he can't make it. He's at his dad's today, so
okay.
that's fine.
All right.
But
so he probably won't be having a show tonight.
Yeah, unless
yes. So, I mean, you watch all the talking heads like Scarborough and Anderson Cooper, even the idiots on The View, they're all just saying, "Why didn't they just turn his mic off?" And it's like, hey, we got this thing. It's called the First Amendment.
Yeah.
So,
and for once, they actually adhere to the first, the First Amendment. It's just like, I know they're throwing a tizzy because I don't know what was worse, the fact that he was on CNN and got to say what he wanted and call that, what do you call her, evil or nasty. Yeah, you're nasty. And gotta say one thing, at least that's one president probably talks the way the rest of us do.
Yeah. Yep.
Uncle Bill says he's not sure if he's going to be on tonight. Okay. Well, if he's not on, then I go to sleep early.
And that's, same here. That's the thing about Trump. He doesn't hold back. He just tells it like it is, and it pisses off everybody, even our side, and especially the Democrats and the media, and that's why they hate him so much.
Yeah.
Because he shines the light on them, and they start yapping like Lloyd's dogs, and so everybody could see how off the wall, off the handle they are, and people are going to say, "Wow, boy, these people are nuts." So,
as I said, Trump did something that nobody has done in a long time, and that was he shook things up, and but he didn't unite the country. We're still as divided. We've been divided really since really 2000, election year 2000. That's when the divide really was split. The hanging chads and all that stuff. Right. And that's
we did have unity for about 6 weeks.
About 6 weeks, yeah. That was after we were attacked.
Right after 9/11.
And I hate to say it, but this country has forgot about 9/11 and forgot, and unfortunately it may take another tragedy like that for us to pull together again. I just hate to think that, but that may be what it takes. And then in 6 weeks they'll start blaming the other side. Says, see, it's all your fault.
Yep.
And I mean, how in the hell our government is even managing to thwart as many of these terrorist attacks that they say they are? How can they do that? They're spending more time trying to do political correctness and making up stories making up stories about the opposition. They try.
Right.
They're coming up these convoluted things that they do that eventually get found out, and then everybody by then, well, that's old school. We don't want to hear it. That's old news. Let's move on. But that's
Right.
how they're doing it. And how in the hell they're bothering to thwart any terrorist attacks now is beyond me, because they're so busy fabricating these fancy stories.
Mm-hmm.
How do they have time?
Yep. And if you look at some of the legislation that's going on in Washington D.C., where the Democrats have these really way out in left field policies, it makes it that much harder for Republicans to come together and work on them and say, let's rein it in and let's have something that's reasonable.
Yeah.
They don't want to do it. And then when we're in power, they don't want to work with us. So, what the heck? Oh, Amber Alert? Yeah. Okay. I thought I paid her tip at the strip club. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a 14-year-old autistic girl that's missing from the area. Yeah. Yeah, it was an Amber Alert for Muskogee County, so
Oh, okay.
it's like, it was either one or two things. Either we had a tornado fix and set down in my backyard, or it was an Amber Alert or a Silver Alert,
Okay.
I knew I wasn't lost, so, if I got lost, I don't think my kids would call and turn in a Silver Alert. They just, he'll find his way home eventually. Just let him go.
Yep. Special needs senior on the loose, lost.
Yeah. Yeah. Lost old goat.
I want to answer Patrick's question. No, it wasn't an inside job. We were attacked by terrorists from the Middle East. And my opinion on what we did in Iraq was probably not the best thing. We probably shouldn't have messed. But on the other hand, if we hadn't, you'd have Saddam Hussein still running the show and still creating mischief, and who knows what'll happen if we had left him in power. And same with Gaddafi. I mean, we didn't have anything to do with Gaddafi, but we did have a few of our guys killed for no reason over there.
Yeah.
So that is my answer, Patrick.
Yeah,
and buildings. Well, actually, about 3 that I know of. Oh, 4.
Yeah.
We got the Pentagon. We got the Twin Towers. One of the.
Well, let's say this. No offense to you, Patrick, but we try not to talk about anybody's opinion as to whether they believe it's conspiracy or not. We go on the facts that we read, and we try to read something besides what we see on YouTube or what we see on some of the far
QAnon.
right or the far left or QAnon. Yeah. That's and to each your, I mean, you all have a right to believe it. But I support art, and I believe that it. I watched it that morning, and I saw what happened, and I saw it on the news, and I know how it affected me and the way I felt about it. And having spent time in the military, I knew some of what the problems were over there, and have been there since the 70s. Let's see. Well, I don't know what the BBC reported because, unfortunately, we don't get the BBC here in the United States. So, this show is not geared towards arguing those sort of points, especially, I just know that it's going to take, unfortunately, it may take another tragedy like that, because no matter what happened, it was a tragedy that all those lives were lost,
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, you can go back and say Pearl Harbor was an inside job because they let him come over, whatever. Hindsight's 2020, and you move on. You try to prepare better, and you try to do better, and you try to, find those things out. And, so this isn't the channel for that.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, so what other hot topics has gone on? We got the debt ceiling.
Yeah.
So, I guess McCarthy is going to wait until Uncle Joe comes back from where are they? They're in Hiroshima.
Hiroshima, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're waiting for him to come back, and evidently the Democrats do not want to work with us. They want to continue spending like there's no tomorrow, and have this deficit just spiral. You know what our debt is? We're over $30 trillion in debt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and if they could just hold the budget where it's at for
Right.
the next 3 to 5 years, that would start.
Mm-hmm.
That would
Yeah.
start bringing it down. But they're not going to. I mean, there is so much waste that goes on in our government spending. It's just, I mean,
Oh, excuse me.
it's just. Yeah, you can, Patrick. You can say it came from a lab because I think the three of us here would agree with that. But
Yep. Mm.
anyways, there's just so much government waste and spending that, I mean, because I think we talked about this last time about how departments have, at the end of the last 2 months of a fiscal year, they have to account for all the money they spent, and if they haven't spent it all, they're not going to get a bump the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And
So then they have to go spend it during those last 2 months.
so they have to go spend it those last 2 months exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they're going to be capped at that. Which I mean, if you see that, and it's that way, whether it's the city, the state, the federal government, they all do it.
The military, yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. One thing that is, General Millie Vanilli will be retiring soon, and and the guy that is on the short list and looks like probably going to be is actually an Air Force 4-star general.
Oh, okay.
And
Cool.
he's hardcore by the book.
Great. Good to hear.
He's the one who said that we would be sending F-16s to the Ukraine and training the pilots about 6 months ago.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And now we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
He got in trouble for saying that, but he says what he thinks. So he's black. He's black, and so. But from what I've read of him, I haven't. He doesn't seem as concerned about political correct or being woke as much as he is about making the military run in an orderly military fashion.
Right.
And but he's not got the job yet. And if he does get the job, he's liable to turn into another Milli Vanilli.
Yep. And you know who else is at that summit?
Who?
We got Zelensky is there.
Oh yeah, Zelensky is there. So they're talking about loan existence plus interest. You can taper slow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, he's bringing up some good points.
Yep.
But yeah, I think this maybe I don't know if it's too late. I mean, because what the Navy just had a drag queen come out, and that's like, oh yeah, I want to go
Oh,
join the
yeah.
Navy and be a crossdresser.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a cousin that retired from
I'm
there.
in charge of the poop deck.
Yeah. Well, Judy has a cousin that retired from 26 years in the Navy, and one of our other cousins wrote him and says, "So, what do you think of their new recruitment advertisement?" He just writes back, "Totally embarrassed." This is from a Navy veteran, 26 years, and yeah, he's totally embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hearing this from a lot of veterans. There's just this silliness that's going on. Is
Mm-hmm.
what are they going to do? Throw their bouquets at people?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well,
You know?
maybe instead of bullets, they'll have Nerf bullets.
Yeah. What was it? Was it the movie Catch 22 that had a picture of a helmet and a gun with a flower stuck in the barrel? Is on their movie poster? Was that
Yep.
Catch 22? Yeah. And I'm thinking this is the kind of people we got now. They're going to all walk out there with little daisies stuck at the end of their rifle. That thought came across my mind. I was like, oh my God, it's sad. And, but, hopefully this new chief of staff, the joint chiefs of staff will
Oh, and
make
how
the
about
military.
what's going on in California? Turns out they have a $35 billion deficit.
That's all.
Yeah.
Well, that's because they haven't.
I figured that'd be tiddlywinks for California.
Yeah, well, the reparation that they're planning, for $5 million per person. Like,
boy,
it must be nice.
Doing dark face for that.
I would be too, man. I'd be looking. I'd be having my DNA checked, and I'd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But wasn't California? It was a free state, wasn't it?
It
I don't
was.
think they had slaves there.
Yeah.
No, did they?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think they did.
I don't
thought
think
it was
they
a free
did.
state.
I mean, they had a lot of Chinese workers there, but they weren't slaves.
They had a lot of slaves, but that was when it was under the Spanish control.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I hope Russia wins the war quickly. I think it's a little too late for what I would call quickly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Especially when it's like the advice that they said, the Ukraine was going to fall in a matter of days.
Yep.
Again, General Milli Vanilli, and yeah. So yeah. California's
back on
never.
track, Lloyd.
Yeah, California. Yeah. Where is that? Yeah, there we go. There's my squirrel. I do that all the time. I think
and
their
Charles
deficit
does a great job keeping us on track.
Yeah, he sits there and he's probably the smartest one on this panel because he don't say shit. he sits there and keeps his mouth shut and says, "I won't let these two old fools make a fool of themselves." I see if they say something smart, I'll go, mm-hmm, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nod your head, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, anyways, oh my God, we definitely have gone off the rails. But yeah, we're talking about California and their how many billions are in debt? Are they
$35 billion in debt? So,
well, they're like 1% of the national debt, which is 35 trillion.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And they're talking about changing the utility rates to where it's based on income.
Based on what?
Income. Yeah. So the poor people pay next to nothing, which, and the rich are going to get soaked for paying
and they
utilities.
wonder why it's becoming a phenomena that more and more actors are starting to speak against wokeness, and it's because those are the ones that has got smart enough to realize we are in the upper income bracket and we're going to have to pay for this crap.
Yep.
And so, oh no, we don't need woke. There's a lot of them, but and hello, Steve Carpenter. He said he's been listening while on the road.
Good to see.
But yeah, California is if they do something like that, I guarantee you they're
Oh, people are going to flee the state even at an even faster rate. Especially wealthy people.
Yeah. Oh, I did want couple 2 or 3 weeks ago, Oklahoma was in the news, was on Fox News like 3 different times for killings and whatever. There was that murder suicide of that pedophile that was out, and he killed his wife, his 3 kids, and 2 other girls. 7 people, and then we had a shooting somewhere. A mass shooting here. We were this week. I noticed this weekend we were in the news because of one of our congressmen. That is, let's see if I can remember this.
Oh boy.
It's the Secretary of Education here in the state of Oklahoma, and he has called out the unions. He says they're socialists, they're communists. I can't remember let's see, socialist, communist, and I forgot what else. And he is fascist. Yeah, I think so. And he has really been fighting the union, and he says, I'm not going to let the union take control of our education bills, because they just passed an education bill, and he said the biggest bunch of communist socialists that are ruining our state, he says, we're one of the lowest states in the union, and he says, that's because our teachers union is taking money from the teachers out of their pockets and using it to buy themselves nice homes and or cars, and to pay for a bunch of socialists to in this gender identity crap. They're using it for that.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, Steve.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. What bothers me is these people are the same people that voted for the idiots that are ruining those states. And that personally, no offense, Steve, you're welcome to come to Oklahoma, but as far as the rest of them, they can all stay out there. You vote for those idiots, you deserve what you get. That's why we need to start escape from New York and escape from LA
to Colorado.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I knew Colorado was lost when the Kennedys started showing up there back in the 60s. Yeah. When all those politicians started coming in there to ski in the wintertime, and especially the Kennedy family, I knew Colorado was headed down the wrong path then. They should have stopped them. Yeah.
Well, and plus Colorado didn't want to have the Olympics here.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, the prestige of having it here was... But then you think about, the financial impact, after the Olympics is over.
Because
empty facilities that are not going to be used. I mean, look at Lake Placid. They still have that gigantic ski jump that nobody uses.
Yeah, the only thing good that came out of that after all that was over is they made a great horror movie about some alligator in Lake Placid or something like that. I can't remember what that.
It was actually called Lake Placid about a dog like alligator that was terrorizing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I haven't watched it, but I remembered it. And I thought, so that's what they did with the extra money left over from the Olympics. They made a stupid ass movie. Okay.
And they used to have a yearly film festival up there, but I think that died.
Probably with the movie. Yeah, it
Yeah.
probably died with that movie.
Oh, I think
Well,
it
no,
went
not
to
not
Utah.
quite that long ago. They may have been going on right up until just a little bit before COVID, before they.
Oh, yeah. A lot of those things died because of COVID, you know.
Yeah. Well, Utah still has the Sundance Film
Sundance,
Festival.
yeah.
Yeah, that's still
You know,
going.
that's a whole that's a beast all on its own.
That's yeah.
Mhm.
That was
And they just had the Cannes Film Festival.
yeah.
Yep.
We have one here in Muskogee. It's called the Bare Bones Film Festival, and it's for independents that and they've done some pretty good movies have come out of it, you know. But it's called it started out with people on, you know, they were very low budget independent films, and they were trying to promote them and help them get the money to go into better films, and it's been very successful. Being in Oklahoma, there's a lot of Native American connection though, so and that's something else. You know, we talked about the McGirt decision that caused me to live now. Now I live in a reservation. It wasn't McGirt. It was another thing. Well, there was a gal that a guy was out in her front yard, and he just beating the hell out of her dog, and she goes out there to stop him, and he starts wailing on her with a pistol. He starts pistol whipping her, and then takes off. The McGirt law actually almost prevented the guy from being prosecuted because she was the Native American, and so she called. You know, she called the police. They came out and said, "You're Native American. Doesn't matter what that guy is. You're Native American. This has to be handled by the Light Horse Brigade, which is the police department for one of the nations." And then they handed it off, and nobody would prosecute it. And finally, one of our local news agencies got involved with it, and they got it prosecuted, got the guy taken care of. Then her adult son disappeared, and they knew he was there, but none of them would go looking for him because of the fact he was Native American. The Light Horse said, "Oh, we ain't got the manpower." The DA said, "No, we can't go look for this guy." Well, they found it. The news agency, when they got hold of him on that second one, they found him within 2 hours. They finally they called the nation, and the nation, but so that was a case where the McGirt decision hurt the Native Americans. So they have changed. There was a new Supreme Court decision that came down that give police departments more authorizations than what they had. They're cross-deputized now. But that decision, you know, this is Supreme Court, and sometimes, you know, that was one of the big things that was in the news this last week here in Oklahoma. So,
right.
Anyways,
that's
all the Oklahoma news.
Went down 9-0?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we've done a little over an hour. I want to thank everybody in the chat for coming to the show. Patrick, thanks for the questions. Don't know if they were really pertinent to the show, but some of the questions did have good points, like the Federal Reserve, and we can talk about that possibly next week when we have former congressman and former presidential candidate Thaddeus McCotter. And also, I've got another special guest. Don't know if I'll have her on next week or maybe the week after. Karen Murray. She is she's known as the Glock Mama on TikTok. So she also has her own show on KLZ here in Denver. So everybody have a great weekend, and we'll catch you next time. See you later. Bye-bye.
Good night, folks.
Good night, everyone.